I was transported to
Final Fantasy Unlimited.
You want to just scream as loud as you can on 3?
No.
But yeah, Final Fantasy Unlimited.
Yeah.
So I thought we would call this episode Disc 1, because you just watched the first 5 episodes too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, which on the discs is the first disc.
Yeah.
How'd you like it? What are your general impressions of Final Fantasy Unlimited?
Honestly, like, taking a step back, it feels like an anime that you've already watched a dozen times. In a sense that, like, it has that, there's young kids going into a fantasy world element, kind of like Monster Rancher, Digimon.
All the greats. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, it has that feeling that you've seen it before, but there's also other elements like Kaze. He feels like just a Walmart version of Vash the Stampede. Like, he just...
I wouldn't say Vash. I was thinking Captain Harlock. I don't know if you ever watched any of those.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
He just the cool guy persona. Like Vash is just so jolly and weird and funny, whereas this one is just kind of like, I'm cool.
He's like taking from the source material, he's like a Vincent Valentine like kind of character.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah,
it's the type of character I like to call my brother's favorite character, because Vincent Valentine, Vlad Harlock, Vampire Hunter D. That's just what he kind of beats off to.
Yeah, it's not
so
bad.
You give me your honest opinion. What's your dishonest opinion?
Oh, my dishonest opinion. I think it is great for the time. Not really. I mean, honestly, this came out in 2001. I feel like there's so many other animes at that time where, like, this just falls in the cracks of, like, just
I'm
obscurity.
trying to think of, yeah, that's why I love it. But I also, like, I feel like after 1999, like, I feel like anime died for 10 years in my mind.
Oh, yeah,
like, it's hard for me to think of, like, early 2000s or even mid 2000s one. There's, like, a few notable exceptions, but, like, that's when I
can think when it was the year 2000, 2001, that was when we were, later years, we're going to date ourselves. We're later years of our elementary school age, and we were coming home to Toonami at the time, watching Dragon Ball Z, watching Tenchi Muyo. But these shows, those were shows that were coming out, a couple of years before, and they were just finally making their way to America.
Oh, more than a couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, Dragon Ball Z was like late 80s.
Yeah, for sure. And then, you know what the greatest thing, though, is?
What?
The studio that did the Studio Gonzo. Do you know what they did 1 year prior to this?
I wrote down some notes on this, so let me see if I can guess. Is it the Breaking the Habit Linkin Park music video?
No.
Because they did that.
They did one of
the director did that.
They did one of my favorite.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I saw it. I'll let you say the name that I don't even want to think about.
The show that must not be named for Evan.
You can say it. I just don't want to say it.
One of my guilty pleasures growing up was watching a sci-fi anime show called Vandred. It is amazingly bad. In a way that, like, I feel like this show could have been that if it wasn't Final Fantasy. It has the same problems Spirits Within had, where the branding of Final Fantasy, in my opinion, did more of a detriment to the overall experience of the show and that movie, because it just doesn't add anything to it that is remarkable or makes it stand out and makes it even better. It almost just, like, you watch the anime and you expect more because it's Final Fantasy, and you're left feeling like, oh god, what is this? It doesn't feel like a Final Fantasy anime, and it doesn't feel like just a regular anime because it's just so weird. And
It is, yeah, I completely
weird
agree
isn't
with everything
bad,
you're saying.
but it's just mediocre.
Yeah, it's weird and mediocre, which is kind of impressive in its own way, but it is very bizarre. It kind of gives me like Alice in Wonderland vibes.
For
just
sure.
'cause some of the stuff is so just bizarre, but also feels so disconnected from anything else. But also, and just to rope it back into Final Fantasy, what's your favorite Final Fantasy reference in these first 5 episodes?
I mean, I love it when any of the music gets a different remix, and I definitely liked the Chocobo remix that they were doing. Besides that, I mean, it's so loose. You really just have like the summons, and then the summons don't even look that good most of the time. They're just kind of, I don't know.
Did you forget about your favorite character?
Who?
Who's also a Final Fantasy reference?
Sid?
No, Choco Baba. God.
Oh, Chocobaba. Yeah.
You know her, you love her. No, yes, Sid is who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sid's actually the saving grace. I think he's the best character so far.
You don't like You or I?
You or I is probably the worst part of the show, especially the actors that they got. To keep in mind that Evan and I watched the English dub, and the English dub is atrocious. It is so bad.
It's pretty rough. What's the girl's name? I wrote it down. Let me see.
No, the older girl?
Lisa.
Yeah.
Master of the Keegan arts, which I heard as Kingdom Hearts the first time, and thought, oh, they're really hinting at that. Yeah, seriously, they knew where they were going. We haven't finished the series. Who knows? But
was Kingdom Hearts even out?
it was probably just like a elevator pitch at that point. Like I don't even. When did the first one come out? Was it like 2002 or?
I'm looking right now. Yeah, 2002.
Yeah, but I mean that means it was in development around this time, probably. Yeah. So hey, Keegan Arts, Kingdom Hearts. Maybe somebody misheard somebody and started a new project. That's all I'm saying. But who do you like better, You or I? And which one's which?
I is the girl and You's the boy.
You got it right. I'm so impressed.
I was paying attention. You is the worst.
Taking notes.
You's the worst, in my opinion. If in terms of voice, I is the worst in terms of story. The character that's playing You the actor that's playing You is like, he sounds like a kid that's being forced to read his lines at gunpoint. He's just like, and he's just like looking off the script to his mom, and then his mom's like, just do it, honey, just do it. It doesn't. He has no charisma, no. Like, there's times when you watch a movie and you're like, wow, that kid is, he nailed it. He did a perfect job of delivering an emotional, character. He had a good presence on screen. These kids just, I don't know if they were some producer's kids. I don't know where they got them. They were trash. Most of the voices are really bad. The Earl's voice is really bad.
Oh, yeah. I think that's intentionally meant to be annoying, though, so I don't mind it. Obviously, I don't enjoy it. The whole character there kind of... Did you ever watch David Lynch's Dune?
No.
The giant fat guy? I just feel like it's almost
like an
similar to that, where it's like, it's just so hard to look at and listen to. Make you not like that character.
Yeah, there's like a weird accent that they're doing. It's like almost like a Meowth from Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I don't like this. But yeah, how did you feel about the show overall? I'm talking too much.
Oh, no, you're good. I was surprised because, let's see, I remember getting this box set. Back when anime was really expensive, there was a store up in Indiana. We'd go to Coconuts, as I've told you many times. And I remember usually a box set of anime at that time, you'd be looking at like $80, something crazy. And I remember thinking like, oh, they have the Final Fantasy one. I've never even heard about this. I bet it's going to be expensive. And then I looked at the price, and guess how much it was?
It was probably on sale because they couldn't sell it. I'm guessing it was $15.
Ding, 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 ding.
No
Correct.
way.
It might have been like $14.99, but I'll give it to you. Yeah, I was like, at that point, then I probably had $20 and was like, oh, I'm not going to find anything here, maybe a movie or something. And I got that, and I was so excited. And I probably watched the first maybe 5 episodes at most. But all of it, I'm surprised. I remember, like, all of it. Like, it's just all came back to me as I was watching it. Like, I remember, the train and the first episode specifically. But like every other episode after that, I'm like, oh, I remember this fungus guy, or oh, I remember this poison ivy lady. Like it all just kind of came back. Maybe not the last episode with Sid. Maybe I only made it like 3 or 4 episodes in, but overall in this rewatch, I'm enjoying it, but kind of on that same level. I enjoyed Monster Rancher, rewatching that, in that it's fucking terrible, but it's like I was trying to think of a word for it, like a mixture of FOMO and nostalgia, like something that I have nostalgia for even though I never actually experienced it all the way. And so watching it, it's like a certain catharsis. Like I feel like I'm getting something out of my system that I've held on to. Like in the back of my mind since I was like 13, I'm like, I never finished Final Fantasy Unlimited. I wonder if it got better at that last episode,
It was,
knowing that that's not true, but
it was like a nostalgia splinter that was in your mind, that was itching, that you just needed to get it out. Yeah.
It's like when you have a song stuck in your head and you can't go to sleep. You just hear the first words over and over again.
Oh, God. That's the worst. Yeah,
like a kiss from a rose.
Oh, Seal. The show... Okay, let's start from the beginning. So what's the plot?
Let's go through our notes.
Yeah,
let's
what's
go
the
through
plot?
Our notes. I've got my my first... let's see. Did you write down the beautiful name of the first episode?
Oh, no.
So, and this goes hand in hand with the Alice in Wonderland, but the first episode's name is Wonderland: Journey into the Darkness.
Darkness, definitely the pillar of darkness that I guess when the show starts, it's not modern day. It was a little bit before when the show starts. I think they said 12 years. Randomly, somewhere, we don't know where in the world it is. I don't know if it's Japan. I don't know if it's America. But there's a pillar of darkness that comes out in this bay. And some scientists are watching it. And 2 dragons, they say the sword dragon and the gun dragon, start fighting. Did you have like... I kind of had like... This feels like Xenoblade Chronicles... kind of during the opening.
The Cornus and the Boyonis.
Yeah, it kind of felt like, I was just like, this weird CG monsters fighting with each other that, I don't know, just...
Yeah, you know how I feel about 3D CG, especially at this time. But, yeah, it was... The beginning, the whole first episode was kind of like Whiplash. I mean, it was a lot of lore and backstory just coming at you. Yeah. My notes are pretty messy just because I was like, who's Fabula? A pillar of darkness? People are disappearing? The mom and dad are the scientists,
yeah.
and the mom's pregnant, maybe? And yeah, I was just like...
Yeah, they did say...
Just trying to take it in, and I didn't get, like, the first episode, again, it was just nonstop thrill ride. I loved it.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of stories that you hit the ground running. And you have to try to catch up because the literal train is leaving the station. They are going off to Wonderland because the kids have somehow found a way to get to this magical realm where their parents are. And when they finally get to this world, it kind of looks like theirs, but like a weird, just like... the buildings are made of plants. It's just like, it's like a world with just so many layers. And it feels like, I guess, just the world is connected to a subway line where a train is going through it. It honestly makes no sense, but it invokes that feeling, like I said before, like you've seen this anime before. You've read this story in a book where you kind of just know where it's leading without even knowing what the plot is, because it has this feeling of like, oh, you're just on an adventure, but there's no rhyme or reason to what the adventure is and what the story is. It's just you're in Wonderland, you're Alice, you're down the rabbit hole now.
Yeah, it does that thing again. It's something that I love and I hate about these animes where, again, like you said, we're going on a grand adventure, and they kind of dangle a little like story thread at the beginning to get you invested. And this one, it's oh, our parents are missing. We need to find them. We have this book they wrote, The Day of Conjunction, and we're gonna find them using that, and trying to talk to the people in Wonderland. I feel like it was the same thing with Monster Rancher, the top tier anime, where. So in the beginning of that one, he gets sucked into the world, and first he's just trying to figure out where he is and what's going on, but then they have the big bad, evil enemy, the great monster Mu, and it kind of gets you invested, kind of in the same way.
The big terrible Mu.
So intimidating.
The fearsome Mu. Yeah, almost as fearsome as the Earl.
Oh yeah, Earl's pretty intimidating.
Yeah. I honestly think the I don't even know. Oh, his name's Oscar. He, like, whenever they zoom in on like his eye, he's like, I'm like, oh god, like, who the fuck is this?
Which one's Oscar?
But, Oscar is like, he looks like the jester kind of character. He's the black, green, and red kind of character that follows him around in the beginning, and then he's in the Earl's palace. He has like a mask on.
I totally don't remember this one.
He's not the fungus guy, and he's not the girl.
I was gonna say there's the fungus guy, poison ivy guy. There's the kind of the opposite of what's his name, Kaze.
Yeah, that's
there's the white guy, the Etude.
Mackenzie is the white fog dude.
Yeah, Mackenzie, the white Etude.
Yeah, he's just like the black. He's wearing like a cloak kind of thing. Evan just completely
I
wiped
lost
a character
that one.
from his memory.
he did not make a big impression, is what I'm trying to say.
No, he hasn't really done anything yet. He just seems like, honestly, I feel like he might have other intentions. I feel like he might be the one.
Might be the real big bad.
Because I feel like, because the Earl doesn't seem like somebody that's like a big bad. He just seems like a figurehead, like a red herring, almost, like where you just, oh my god. And Kaze's for some reason after the Earl, his intentions aren't clear. What was the girl's name?
He forgot his name. He had amnesia, so I mean they had to, like, at first he didn't even know who he was.
Yeah, how did the kid, how did you know his name? He was like, oh, that's Kaze.
Yeah, I don't remember that either. It's been a week and a half since I watched it. I'm just going off my notes.
No, yeah, you're fine.
But like, I wrote down, like, oh, he forgot his name. He's a cool dude. He has amnesia, but I don't remember actually when they like oh yeah, that's Kaze. Yeah. Was it one of the bad guys? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe, but they call him the Black Wind though.
Yeah.
Which
that's only after he's had Mexican though.
Okay, here I'm gonna take a step back. I'm just gonna talk about character design and just design philosophy. When you're making a character like Kaze, and it's just like he's almost like a blank slate because he has no his motivations are very clear. You need to make something about him that is, something that resonates with the person. And it's like, okay, he has this mystical, mechanical gun that's attached to his arm. Cool. What the hell is it? It's just like when it's in a dormant mode, it's just like a kind of like a cylinder on his arm, and then it awakens when danger, and then it will have a drill, and then it will have a black windmill, and then it has his heart in it, and then he shoots soil from it. Like, there's like, what were they thinking, cramming all of this into one character? Like, there's just no like keystone element to it that helps bind all these things. It just feels like random ideas that they were throwing against the wall and hoping some of them stick, you know?
Are you saying you wish he hadn't worn his heart on his sleeve?
God.
So I wrote down that joke a while back. I had to fit that in there somewhere. It seemed like a good opportunity.
Squeeze that in.
Had to squeeze that in. And can I go back and make a joke about how Van Dread my name's Evan, and I dread Van Dread. I haven't finished that joke, but I just, we'll fix that in post.
Yeah, we're still writing it down.
I'll be here all night. But no, I get what you're saying. Like, his design, I feel like, is just to appeal to, like, a 13-year-old me. It's just like, this guy's fucking cool. Mm-hmm. He's got long hair. He's got the cool gun arm.
He has broken sunglasses where only one of them has a lens. The other one, there isn't a lens.
I mean, he's pirate style, maybe.
Yeah. It's like sunglasses
could be
mixed
cooler?
with an eye patch.
Exactly. He's modern. He's hip. His name is cool. Long hair. I mean, he's got soil. Soil is his power. So that really, who doesn't like soil?
Yeah, I wonder if, because you like I know I keep saying this, it feels like something you've already watched. I wonder if he was, like, designed partially on, like, Neo from, like, The Matrix, because that was, like, right around this time, where, like, black, kind of, like, trench coat, sunglasses, just guns. It just doesn't feel like a unique character. It just feels like something.
He's definitely an archetype. I mean, he's a cool guy, anime character, gruff voice. I was surprised he wasn't voiced by whatever Cowboy Bebop or something. But
yeah, I didn't see any big names in the cast at all.
The only name that I was like, oh, it says music by Nobuo Uematsu. That's cool. But it's just like whenever they use the prelude or something. It's like, because first I thought it said the theme was made by him. I'm like, oh, this doesn't sound like his style, but okay. A little different. But
he took an afternoon to make it.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, you guys need me to... Yeah, I'll crank something out.
I'll do it on my lunch break.
Yeah.
Yeah. After the first episode, it kind of opens up, getting back to the story. Somehow they have to... It's kind of like one of those episodic... I mean, it is episodic anime, but it's one of those, like... It feels like one of those formula kind of shows where there's, like, a monster of the week, and,
Oh, yeah.
There is just a little, A plot, B plot, where A plot doesn't really matter to the whole... grand arcing story, but then at the very end there's like a little B plot where like it'll thread the narrative of going into the greater story. But I don't know, I just, in the first 5 episodes I haven't seen anything that's like really hooking me to watch the whole series. We will, because we want to discuss it and see if it is actually good or not. But if I was just a regular viewer, I would have checked out long ago. Like Evan said, when he got his DVDs back then,
Still in pristine condition, by the way. Oh, I got to my second page of notes. That's where I wrote down Oscar. I put Oscar equals Jester, and he made Crux, which I had forgotten. Crux, the Zach Bell character that had crossed over to the show.
Yeah, it does definitely feel like it's not... Zatch Bell. There you go.
I believe it's Zachelle Bell.
Yeah, it's Zachary Bell.
Supposed to say it. Zachary Bell. We know how to say our anime, okay, and our manga. Reading our anime books, we're in the know. But on the second episode, which I know you already know the title, but I'm just going to tell you anyway, which is Magun, Man of the Black Wind. Magun? Yeah, Magun. Because he's a man and a gun, I guess. But
I was thinking it was Mana Gun.
That would make a lot of sense.
But
too,
it's just
a different
but just
magic soil.
Yeah.
Magun. And then this is the episode where they first meet what is the Chocobo in the first episode, or is he just coming in the second episode? I can't remember. But this is where we do get introduced to Chocobaba, my favorite character. And then, we get a little more spotlight on Master Fungus, who's one of the four lords. And then we have the Mushroom Forest. And each time Kaze tries, whenever he does his little soil thing, I always try to write down word for word what he says, and I can never get through it. But the soil is my power. The Magun has thawed. So I think we could all learn a lot from that.
This one of those kind of animes where it's very guilty of reusing a lot of animation.
It's like the magical girl animes where, anytime Sailor Moon comes on, you get in that transformation because that's where they spent the money.
Yeah, the 2 minutes that it takes up every episode. At the end of the, series, it's probably like enough runtime to fill up an episode that they,
At least. You could tell the director just like, oh, okay, thank God, 2 minutes, don't have to worry about.
They try to extend that intro, too, where they do a recap. And it's like, okay, there really wasn't enough to do a recap, but we're doing a recap anyway.
Well, when this was on actual television, you're watching other shows in between, I guess. But when you're binging it, you don't really need the pre and post.
I'm skipping that shit all day. The intro is so painfully generic where I'm just like, all right, skip.
It's really bad. Yeah, the intro is especially bad, I feel like. Yeah. You didn't soak it in each 5 times. I watched it each time just for fun. And, man, it's just... Usually they go all out on the intros, I feel like. Like, you can tell they spend a good amount of the budget because that's what, might be the first thing people see. And they usually try to make it cool, but I just feel like it's very static, very low production on that part of it. But that's so they could save it for the good parts,
It feels like one of those... Evan and I love to go to thrift stores, and we love to seek out just, bargain DVD anime, and we'll watch an anime. And it feels like one of those, anime songs that just... They, licensed it for pennies. It has no... you watch some animes and, Cowboy Bebop... Trigun, things that, you can still just hear the songs in your head, just how memorable they are. And this is just I can't even tell you how it begins.
Oh yeah, it's not an earworm. It's not like Berserk where it's so bad that you remember it. Do you remember the Berserk theme? Did you ever watch the original Berserk?
The one from the 90s or the...
Yeah.
I've seen bits of it, but I didn't watch the full thing.
I'm not making fun of anybody's accent because the musician behind the music is really good, but the intro for Berserk is so out of place because it's folky guitar and it's a Japanese man doing an English lyrics, and man, he every time it just cracks me up. I had an old roommate that would quote it randomly. He just walk around the apartment.
So put your glasses on, nothing will be wrong. There's no brand.
That's painful. But you remember it. This one's not even that. No. It's just generic, which actually I forgot. So on the first episode, I was like, oh, I wonder what else this director's done. And that's when I found out, as I mentioned before, the Breaking the Habit video by Linkin Park. But do you know what else he did before this? Or maybe it was right around this.
Was Breaking the Habit the one where it was the person jumped out of the window and fell in the car? Yeah. That was a good music video.
That was really cool.
No, what did they do before this?
It's either right before this or right after. They did Blue Submarine number 6, which kind of reminds me of this as well. Just the mixture of 2D and 3D. and the fact that I don't like it very much.
The thing, though,
But that's shorter, so it's easier to...
I have fond memories. Not fond memories of that show, but it's one of those shows that Evan described where it's like... It's this... You have this feeling of nostalgia for it, and it's like this, like... You want to just kind of get rid of it, because you'll watch it later on, because you remember it from the kid. And I had that with Blue Submarine number 6 years ago, because I was like, oh yeah, I remember watching this on Toonami. It was awesome. And I rewatched and I was like, oh god, this show is not awesome. But
I watched that earlier this year and I was like, ooh, at least it's short.
And
short and sweet.
But at least it had personality. And it
did try.
Yeah.
The main character had like one of the most annoying male voices I've ever heard, but it stuck with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's like... Even with Vandred, like Vandred, Blue Submarine number 6, it's like these animes where like they feel like this show, but they're also so totally different because they at least can stand on their own somewhat. I mean, they're barely standing on their own. This show, I feel like, can't even get up off the ground. Like it's floundering.
Missing something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just I don't like any of the people in it so far. But
Yeah.
I mean, I like Kaze, but again, it's kind of like just liking an anime poster of Goku or something. It's like, yeah, it looks cool, but
I like Sid. I think Sid is actually... I like how he names all of his technology after like women, and you know, it's just he has the most personality, but. He seems like he's gone from the anime right now because
I was gonna say, I mean, if he's like Sid in any other thing, he's probably not gonna be a main character. But was your other favorite Knave?
Oh, who?
You remember Knave?
Who's that one?
Little pop quiz. He's the leader of the Komodine, of course.
Oh yeah, I did like how he was animated. I like how, I don't know, he looked odd. His proportions were really weird. It didn't.
Yeah,
he seemed like he didn't have a neck at times because his scarf was like so high up.
Like a real man.
He was okay. It was just weird how like it was like, okay, they're gonna have a relationship with him and Lisa. I was like,
yeah, that was weird.
I was like, what is going on?
That was a little uncomfortable.
But there's a lot of things where I'm just like, what is Lisa doing in the show? Like,
yeah, I'm kind of interested to see because I feel like that'll be the most interesting thing just to see where this develops. Like, I feel like she's definitely not letting on. Like, every time they try to ask her, oh yeah, why are you here? She just changed the subject.
Yeah.
It's just like, huh. So they've got me there. I'm a little invested on that.
She's talking in her Apple Watch, like, oh my god, there's not a signal. Like, okay, I don't think you're being very stealthy. I think people can hear you.
Yeah. But let's center back on the where we were in the story. Let's see. We went over the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
What was the second episode? Was the
Magun
mushroom? The Magun, the Man of the Black Wind. The third episode, which I probably was my favorite of the three, even though it was probably the least connected to any of them, was the Fruit, the Town of Sweet Scent.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the one where like they're in this weird village with a bunch of hooded, Genova clones or something, and they're, all hooked up on some fruit that's making them real lazy. But how did you feel about that episode? Did that one click with you?
I feel like going into it, what will happen with me, I feel like my brain's running a mile a minute when I'm watching an anime. And so while I'm watching something and the story's going really slow, I feel like I try to guess where it's going. And I'm like, oh, these people, they're acting really lethargic and they're, they're out of it and they're talking to themselves and they seem like crazy. But the episode was entitled, Fruit. So there must be something, of significance with this fruit. Maybe since they're eating it, it's making them, it's having these effects on them. Oh my god, the guys can't eat the fruit. Don't eat the fruit. And it's just like, oh wait, no, the fruit, it doesn't mean anything. Wait, okay. Oh god. And it's just like, it's like, what, like... I feel like there is potential there. Like I took like 10 seconds when I'm watching this to think up all this stuff. And it's like, if I could take 10 seconds to think of that, it's like, why can't the people making the show, like, just put that much more effort into it? But it's just like, no, well, okay. The pollen lady comes, you know, people are
Urba?
Yeah,
Urba?
yeah.
Your other favorite character, Urba?
Nope. People are somehow being, you know, even more swayed with her pollen, but Kaze is immune to it, and he's just unloading into these weird thorn plant enemies that are endless, and it's just reused animation over and over and over. Until he finally awakens the Magun randomly because what's her name? I got a magical gift from what's her name?
Fabula.
Yeah, Fabula. Oh God.
We're gonna have these all memorized by the end, so I hope you're studying, taking notes.
Here's a real thing. I'll give you points for this. What's the bag's name?
Poshi Pocket.
Holy shit! I can't believe you remember that.
Yeah, and my favorite thing, and probably so. This is what I was gonna maybe title the video. There's a quote when is I the girl or is you the girl? So when I gets the Poshi Pocket, she quotes, "I can't tell if it's beautiful or gross. It's all just so weird."
Hey,
which is how I feel about the show.
Yeah, it symbolizes the show pretty well.
But yeah, maybe his Magun's like a limit break, or maybe more like the Final Fantasy IX trance system, where you don't really know when you're going to get it, and it's not that useful. But
it's like, is it? I just don't understand, like, symbolically of what it means for the narrative that, like, the Magun is his heart. Okay. Mm-hmm. Does his heart have to awaken? Like, what is going on? And, like, the MacGuffin of this episode was that the bag,
Poshi Pocket?
Poshi Pocket made this magical seed that somehow got nullified. What the hell is her name?
Urba?
Her magical pollen that wasn't doing anything to people, except making them a little, like, drunk acting. I don't know. They're, like, all dancing and, you know, and, like, just out of it. And then he finally, Kaze awakens the Magun, and cue the 2 minutes of him loading the gun up with rainbow soil.
It has moved. Soil is my power. The Magun has thawed. Soil charged triad to be used on you has been decided. Green. I didn't write the rest. See, like I said, I tried to write it all down. I think on the last episode I finally got it because I knew the first part.
You need to cut your audio over the show and see how well you did.
Yeah, on this one it was green, made in white, which is made in white to freeze all things, of course. Ice blue, and that made Shiva. Mm-hmm. So I mean, the summon thing is kind of cool because they're doing some deep cuts on some of the summons. The second episode was like Typhon, who's like not in a lot of Final Fantasy.
I was gonna say
the first one was Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix is, you know,
iconic.
Yeah. I did not know episode 2, so that was a summon. I didn't know if it was an original.
Yeah, Typhoon or Typhon. He's not in a lot of them. I'm trying to think of which ones he's even in. I'm gonna Google that. So excuse the typing noise on my very loud keyboard, but Typhon, Raffoon. So he's in 6. Oh, he's in 7. Yeah, I thought he was in 7. Yeah.
There's so many summons.
There are a lot, but yeah, he's not one of the more memorable ones, clearly.
What was his ability in the games? Do they match it pretty well, or do they do their own thing?
In the games, I mean, he's Typhon, so it's like Typhoon, so he's like wind kind of thing. I can't remember what he did in that episode, though.
In that episode, he like made a dimensional pocket that like just
nullified.
Yeah. But he is the immortal fungus, and he can never die because I guess they're always. He's like Cell, where like even if a single
it's the one, Yeah, so I'm fact-checking myself. So Typhon, his special attack in Final Fantasy VII is Disintegration, which inflicts fire, ice, lightning, and earth elemental damage to all enemies. So maybe it is something closer to that. But I feel like there's another summon in the games that has more of a demi or gravity effect that would be more similar. Like, isn't an 8, doesn't Odin do a... I can't remember. I'm not a true Final Fantasy fan.
Yeah, I don't know that much. Like, I can't tell you what all the summons do in each game. I'm not.
We're posers is what we're trying to say, but...
This is why I can't really enjoy Final Fantasy Unlimited. It's because I'm just not a true fan.
Once we play, so what we're going to do is we're going to play every game again, okay? And then we're going to play every mobile game, and then all the Japanese games that only came out there that have been translated, like about the Turks. And then we're going to read the light novels that only came out in Japan. And then in like Final Fantasy X-3, I bet you didn't know that was the thing, huh? You're not a true fan, okay? So once we get all caught up, I think this is going to help unravel the mystery. But I liked your train of thought about trying to, since we don't know what's going to happen, I like this idea of us trying to figure out the significance of like the Magun and Kaze and his backstory. So let's dig a little deeper into the heart on the arm thing. So he doesn't know who he is. So my not very well thought out just first take is that he's been like experimented on and he's like a test subject and that they were trying to make him a weapon or something, and so he's just out of it, kind of like Cloud, where he's lost his memories, doesn't really know who he is, but knows obviously how to fight. And so but he remembers Mackenshi, and he was probably also, a test subject of some sort, but he might remember, and that's maybe why he has like some control, because in that fight in the 4th episode, Mackenshi seems to just be able to be like, nope, you're not going to attack me, and just wipe the floor with him.
I have a different theory.
Ooh.
I have a theory that since somehow he is tied to the summons, I feel like he is a summon himself.
Ooh.
I think he is, since he is a dragon, I think he is Bahamut.
Ooh, I like that.
I think so. Or like he's this world's version of something, or it's gonna be like, I don't know, because he's had flashbacks of something in the episodes. I can't remember which episodes his flashbacks take place, where he's slowly regaining his memories, and there's like a disintegrating spiral, and there's like rubble, like it looks like there's an explosion, and I think he saw like a woman's face or something, and like it's really hard because you're really just shooting in the dark with this kind of show, because it's just so like there's no like foundation or a path. It just
I don't think there's anything where we could really definitively say at this point. I mean, I feel like the whole like the sword, what was it, the sword dragon and the gun dragon or something. And they're obviously very similar to Mackenshi and Kaze, because one is black, one's white, right? So I mean, they could just be the human versions of those things.
I definitely
or something. But that kind of gives credence to the summon thing, because he could be the summon when he goes out, but in this world he could maybe live as a human or something like that. So that makes sense to me.
But in the real world, he's it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. It's kind of like in Final Fantasy VIII, where there's that song, and he's like, maybe I'm a lion. But he's like, maybe I'm a dragon, right?
Maybe I'm a gun dragon.
Maybe I'm a gun dragon.
It's like the most like unkept secret of like, oh God, is he the gun dragon? And it's like the gun dragon's face is literally the Magon. It's like, okay.
Wait, yeah, and isn't Mackenzie, I don't remember what his weapon was. Was it a sword?
Yeah, his dragon just had like a pointed face. So I'm guessing that's the blade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So this brings me to in the fourth episode, my second favorite line. I think it's God, I wrote down his name. Your favorite, you're definitely your favorite character, Fungo.
Oh, Fungo, yeah, Fungo's
Do you remember
great.
Fungo? I wrote Fungo an exclamation and then goat character. So I think I liked him. He's the weird. I had a dream about it later that day, but he reminds me exactly of. Did you ever play the Worms games?
Oh yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
He looks exactly like a worm. Like the big eyes. If you ever look at any
like
of the
pink
promotional
skin.
art.
Yeah.
Pink skin, head same shape. So,
I can
but
see
anyway,
it.
his line was because I'm assuming it's eyes the girl, right?
Yeah, you have to ask me every time, and I'm like,
I'm gonna have to ask.
I have a second question, like second guess myself. I'm like, yes.
I'll just start to think of myself as a woman. It'll help me remember it. But I'm assuming she called him a thief, and his reaction was, "What's a thief? Can you eat it?" And that fucking got me. That was a knee slapper for me in that episode.
I did like the whole. Was it in the fourth episode where he's like, "Oh yeah, your bag? Yeah, I fried it and ate it. It was delicious."
I totally ate it.
Huh? But there wasn't just food in that backpack.
I boiled it and fried it up, and it was delicious.
What?
I laughed at that. I was like, "This is great."
Yeah, Fungo might actually be the dark horse best character in the show. But the fourth episode is where we're introduced to the Comodine, which seems to be like the rebel alliance against the Earl, and their leader Knave, which has been one of my favorite names to name my characters in RPGs because it's just my name backwards. But the Comodine also has Sid, who seems to be the only person who knows how to use technology and is fixing all their shit and is pretty impressed by the Magun.
Now,
But-
do you... they were dropping just the tiniest crumbs of lore. But they were just saying that, like, the Comodine, on their world, it was destroyed by chaos. And that they were fleeing from it, and now they're fighting the Earl. So, they're not from Wonderland, I'm guessing. Or they are from Wonderland, and the area they lived in is destroyed. Or they could be from an Earth-like place?
Yeah, so I wonder if Wonderland is like a nexus point where other places meet, or there's other worlds within Wonderland, and they're just going to those. Maybe the subway station is just the connection between all worlds, this like interstitial space, which is actually kind of fucking cool. But I'm gonna copy that for my novel. But aside from that, let's see, Genevieve, is that the?
Is that the...
I wrote down Genevieve.
The other girl?
Zaps Chocobo to make unhigh is what I wrote
Well,
down.
Sid zapped the Chocobo. And I don't even know why the Chocobo... Like, you said the Chocobo was infected with some kind of...
I never said that.
pollen. That's the worst thing about the show, where they go, "You," and I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Wait, what? Me? Talking to me?
Yeah.
I don't see anybody else here.
It's like, why do they think that was a great idea?
It's just one of those naming things that, like, a third grader came up with. What if we named... I wonder what it is in Japanese, if it's the same pun. But
Yeah, and
let's just use pronouns. Yeah. Hey, she and it, come over here. But we'll just group you together, call you shit.
it's
fine.
it's just an Abbott and Costello bit. Have you ever seen those where who's on first? What's on?
Who's on
Yeah,
first?
what's
Yeah.
on second?
I wrote down Wonderland Watch. So I think I remember this. Like, they had to get to the station before it. Or was that the last episode? I can't remember. But there is some sort of time within, like, because they know when the station's going to be there. So I wonder how time works there. Because I think one of them were saying, like, oh, if we miss this, it might just be a day or a week or a month or a couple of years.
The Chocobo,
it's like, whoa.
the Chocobo was saying that to you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he could understand the Chocobo.
You has a Chocobo feather with a pendant in his hair, and somehow he can,
he got that stat buff, man.
Yeah, he has like a telepathy connection with Chocobo.
I like how they're getting gear. She's got the Poshi pocket. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're in the fruit area in episode 3, right?
Yes, I believe it's called Fruit.
So from Fruit, they go down underground, and they reach the rebel base. Somehow, at the fruit area, they were going to where the train was, and they said, "Oh man, we missed the train. Crap." And that's when Chocobo was like, oh, it could be a day, it could be a year, it could be, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And so they go, it's like, okay, I guess we just have to, make our way without it. And so they go up to the underground area, back where the fruit area is, and they meet up with the rebels. And then Chocobo's like, oh, I know Sid is like, oh, we can just go catch up to the train. And it's like, how does that make any sense? You went to the station at that area, the train left, and then Sid's like, oh, we can just catch up to the train and, cut it off. Like, how does the train work? Is it going super slow? Like, it doesn't make any sense how it left the station and they're just digging around for a couple hours and they can go cut it off. Like, I don't know. That was a bit of writing.
Yeah,
where...
little convenient, or maybe there's more than one train.
Yeah, true. It could be.
Possible.
It could be more than one line, like subway line.
Mm-hmm. I doubt it. I bet there is just one train. But yeah, I mean, they took like an underwater system to cut it off. Yeah, I mean. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but logic in Wonderland, I guess you can get a little screwy with it.
True. Yeah. I guess in that world, time, like you said, could be relative. Maybe it does. It. Who knows?
It's like Interstellar.
Yeah, Yeah, it could be going super slow right there, or it could be going super fast somewhere else. I guess it just depends. But we also get not introduced, but Mackenzie shows up to the fruit area with the help of Zatch Bell girl,
Crux,
and he explodes the dome of the area, and he falls down, and he has a duel with Kaze, and Kaze tries to awaken the Mogon, but it won't listen to him. And
we've all been there.
And Mackenzie pretty much wipes the floor with Kaze, and they have to run away, right? They're running away. The kids, I and you, Sid and Lisa, run away on this like flying machine, water machine. It makes
because I remember they make that one jump, and they don't they change it to flying, or maybe it changes to water. I can't.
It has grappling hooks. It can just do whatever the fuck it wants.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And what happens to Kaze after that? I'm getting fuzzy.
I want to say he gets knocked out for a second, but I remember when they're underground. No, I can't. There's one point where I remember he just says I don't care about you guys or something like that, but I can't remember when that was. I know it was around the Combo Dean part, but I just remember that fight. Yeah, he couldn't get it up, and it was tough to watch. But next time I have that issue, I'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, the Megan didn't awaken."
Gotta get a little blue chew. You know what I'm saying?
I gotta get some more soil for the Megan, if you know what I'm talking about. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah,
if you're listening.
Crush up some blue chew and some soil. I'll fix it right up.
THENINEDEEZ is not a medical podcast, and we don't recommend anybody take this advice. But if you do, send us a comment, and we read it on air.
What was the summon? Oh wait, there wasn't a summon in episode 4.
There wasn't a summon. Yeah, the last one was another kind of deeper cut, but the last summon, do you remember? Do you have any ideas?
Oh, it was Sheba, right? Oh wait, no. You're saying
Sheba was like the
you're
third
saying
one.
In episode 5. Oh, episode.
Yeah, last episode, which is Sid, the Adventure of the Underground Waterway, which is when we have a lot of the machine. Catherine's the name of the ship. When they're on Catherine, going through trying to catch up.
Oh God. Whoa.
So the last one, and this is the one I think I wrote down all of the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So let me do it from the start.
Yeah.
Because I think I skipped the first part on this one so I could write down the rest of it because I'd written that. So it has moved. Soil is my power. The Magan has thawed. Soil charge triad to be used on you has been decided. And then we have. Let's see. The sleep that engulfs death. Steel gray. Bubbling and boiling blood. Heat crimson. The light that penetrates darkness. Lightning yellow. And my question to you is, what summon does that make? So you've got gray, crimson, and yellow. And the gray and the yellow make sense. The crimson does not for this summon, in my mind. Visually, at least.
This is
It's a summon that it's a big Final Fantasy X summon. I don't remember seeing this summon in any other one. I'll just keep giving you hints till you get it. So it's starts with an I. It's not Ifrit. It lightning based, and it looks like a unicorn.
Oh, oof.
It's Ixion. Your favorite.
I remember. Yeah, I just remember the lightning hitting the guy. I was like, I can't even remember what the name was.
Yeah, Ixion. Good lightning summon. So I don't know what the crimson is, but I guess,
it's just the blood.
One of them might not matter.
Blood of his
blood.
enemies. I think he did say blood,
It's true.
Yeah.
And this is where I wrote down the Kaze wears his heart on his sleeve, so I'm happy I made it back to that joke again.
Yeah. Overall, I'd say, what happens, the cliffhanger for episode 5 is just, they leave Sid, and they get on the train, and they're like, oh God, I'm tired. And I was just like, okay, that's it.
Nice.
I was like,
leaves you wanting more, I
was like, oh, cool. Can't wait to watch the next 5. And we will watch the next 5, but we are going to be switching to the subbed version if we could find it, just so that, change things up. Hopefully hear some better audio,
I was just going to watch them both.
I do think there are some translation errors, because there are times when I react to what Lisa says, and she has this, pouty face. And it's during those scenes, it doesn't translate to what's happening. Lisa will just have, a nonchalant, answer and just be like, oh, yeah, sure. And, I will just go, and it's they must have just retranslated that. They're something got lost in translation, because that doesn't make any sense of why she's reacting the way she is. So I'm actually interested to watch the subversion, see if their characters are different and if they behave any differently.
Yeah, that'll be pretty interesting. I'll have to look on the options on the DVD, because it defaulted to dub, which is not surprising, but the last few things I wanted to, on the last episode, I just wrote 2 notes. Apparently, Sid has 7 secret devices. I just wrote down 7 secret devices, so assuming that Catherine is one of them, we still have 6 secret devices to look forward to. The other thing I wrote down, which I'm assuming is a quote, probably what they called Mr. Fungus guy a fungoid scumbucket, which I liked quite a bit. That's a good line.
Well, so Catherine was the boat, right?
Catherine was the boat. But Genevieve is another name I wrote down.
Genevieve is the
was the gun?
No, was the
Or Zapper thing?
Oh yeah, I think Genevieve is the Zapper thing, and there's whatever the locket on Chocobo. That is one of his creations.
It is? Because I think I wrote down Wonderland Watch there.
He said someone made some modifications to it.
Ooh.
So I don't know if that is... but the kids showed the parents' photos to him, and he said he didn't recognize them. So
maybe they look different.
Yeah. It's interesting just to why did the parents go to Wonderland? Why did they come back?
Because they're bad parents.
Yeah, true. And they came back, but it's like why? What's stopping them from coming back now?
Yeah. It's all very. I'm actually pretty invested in the mystery. Maybe it's just because I have this other reason to watch it, but I'm curious to see where it goes, with how dark it gets. I'm sure it won't get super dark, but I'm assuming there has to be a pretty good reason why they didn't come back. Assuming they're not just completely horrible parents that just neglected their children to write a sequel to their book, but. We're going to find out. What was your pick one moment? What was your favorite over these 5 episodes?
Man.
I know it's hard to narrow it down to one.
Maybe God. There's just so many really memorable moments. That just stand out in my brain. And I'm not trying to, buy some time by just rambling on, trying to desperately think of a scene.
There's just so many to choose for. You're just going through your mind palace and like, that's so good. But there's this other scene,
I think maybe the Shiva summon. I like the ice. It was okay. I think that was like the coolest attack so far, but I think the coolest just kind of scene was going to Wonderland. And I liked how it was like an inverse of their world, but it was like on the macro level, it was like, oh wow, this looks like our world. But when they started to actually investigate the little things, it's like, oh no, all this is just really strange looking. I just liked how they started slowly going into it. It's not like they went into this really bizarre place and it just looked fucking crazy, it was like things are just slowly getting peeled back layer after layer, and I kind of liked that build up. I wish they kept doing that, but I feel like they've kind of slowed down but we've been in the same place though for a couple episodes. It was
I think that's the problem.
The fruit place, then the underground, and then the water work, maze, and the train. There's not really much to the train on the inside of the train, so it's not it's just, it looks like a normal subway. The station though looks crazy, when it's a vertical station, and it's all it looks H.R. Geiger crap, where it's just spines are going in the air and it's all red and it looks just I don't know, it looks really sinister. I really like all that stuff. I just wish...
I appreciate just how weird it is. Yeah, I feel like watching Monster Rancher just being just kind of generic and uninspired. At least I feel like they're trying to do something interesting and reaching for something, I feel like. But I just don't know if there's enough of a narrative strength. I don't feel like there's a very an author writing this. I feel like this is made by commission. We gotta make an anime. We'll just use the same kind of plot we usually use. We'll have a bad guy, but there'll be another bad guy. He'll have some goons. We'll throw them at him. They'll go to different places, and same old beats. But hopefully it'll get better and better.
I hope. I really do. I hope I don't have to just slog through horrible anime. But I mean, I don't know. It's nice to talk about an anime like this, where this anime is 20 years old.
It's
crazy to think that now, and it still looks good. I mean, there are some moments, like Evan said, where there's some just like appalling 3D, animation. Like it's bad 3D animation too. Like it just looks so janky. Sometimes that stuff can look like charming and endearing, but they took no time and effort on that in this series. But the 90% of the show looks good. Like nothing.
Yeah, it's
none
not
of the characters,
awful or anything.
Yeah, none of the characters look bad, or nobody's like, I'm just like, oh god, this is ugly. Like, it looks good, but it's just not like remarkable. There's so many animes that have done it better.
Yeah, just in that rough transition phase. I feel like it's not too guilty of it. It's just the sign of the times. They're trying to go from hand-drawn to digital, and they're doing the best they can. And it's Studio Gonzo, right? I mean, they're pretty good one.
I feel like
there are no bones, but
yeah, I feel like they haven't really done anything in the last.
They did something that I think we're both very familiar with. That when I say the name, you're gonna smack yourself in the head. You didn't think of it earlier.
Oof, I'm going.
My Bride is a Mermaid.
No, they didn't.
Yep.
Really?
They did.
What?
You can fact check me, but Wikipedia says it's true. It's probably true.
No way.
Google it. Google me, baby. I mean, they've done way more noteworthy stuff since then. But when I saw that one, I was like, ooh.
Oh my god, you're right.
Like high quality art, baby.
You're right. Oh god.
And viewers at home, watch both. You just tell us which one you like better, but I know which one I like better. Okay.
Yeah. Man, I don't recognize any except for Phantasy Star Online for the most recent thing, but besides that, like their newer stuff,
Yeah.
But it's funny how like
super recent.
Yeah, it's like their older stuff. Like they did Hellsing, they did Full Metal Panic. I know that.
There was definitely a bunch at that time where I was like, oh yeah, they did that.
Yeah, Last Exile.
Recently. They peaked in the mid 2000s, I guess.
Yeah, it's wild to see. Like, I guess I don't know what's happened to the the studio and why they didn't
Where's Final Fantasy Unlimited 2?
Yeah, I mean,
more Unlimited. Oh yeah. So one last thing before we end. What do you think the meaning of Unlimited is? Because in one of the episodes, when they're talking about Kaze, they're like, oh, he's unlimited.
That's what I was.
And then they say something about like, oh, that means he has the power of a god or more.
That was Oscar, and that's why early on I was saying that like I think he is like pulling the strings because there's something nefarious with him, because that was in the first episode they ended on. He was like looking out and he was like unlimited, and I was like, oh god, what the fuck. Yeah, and he was telling the Earl that he has the power of a god. That's why I think he is something bigger. He's like Bahamut or something where he's the like you were saying, he's like the human version of like this greater summon or something. He's tied to mana, he's tied to the earth, he's tied to soil. He represents something. Who knows what, because it's just bonkers right now. Hopefully they'll flesh it out. I did, though, kind of see something bad about the show. I don't know if you saw this, about how
it was supposed to be much longer.
Yeah, so that could be bad.
I'm going to take it as it being a very, what's the right word? Merciful for us.
Yeah, it's true.
Not as long as the 300 episodes of Monster Rancher.
Oh, that did not have 300.
Look how many episodes. It wasn't 300, but it's a lot. Let me look it up. You might beat me to it. It was way more than you think. Where'd it go? Anime. Why would I look at the games? God. Oh, only 70.
Oh my!
It felt like 300.
That's a lot. I've watched good animes that are longer, and I thought that lasted forever.
Yeah, it felt like
Oh
300.
my
So
god. 73.
73.
How did you do
Well,
that?
I did watch it 4 times, so But no, yeah, it was when the Blu-ray came out, I had to, so, because monsters rule. If you weren't aware.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was. Final Fantasy Unlimited was originally planned to have 52, but was cut to 25 because of the low ratings and financial failure of the Spirits Within. So we'll see what that entails for this story. I have a feeling it's going to have like a
like a Rave Master kind of thing, where it just ends on. Neon Genesis.
Yeah.
That's almost as good as Rave Master, where it just kind of.
I didn't even know. Did Rave Master have a situation like that?
Well, they just the anime. It just they cut it off and it never caught up with the manga. So I think they got like 50 episodes in or something, but it was would have been like 300 or something ridiculous because Rave Master went on for a long time.
Can't wait to watch Rave Master.
Oh, that's on the list, baby. The only problem is that you can't act. They released like the first DVD and then never anything more. So we're gonna have to find like some bootleg VHS rips or something because it ain't on any.
Well, don't worry. After Final Fantasy Unlimited, we are going to be watching one of our favorites. That is just now returned to Netflix. Code Lyoko. So.
I saw that. Yeah, no, I'll watch. It's like 4 seasons.
Evans wrote me into watching The Spirits Within and Final Fantasy Unlimited, so it's my turn after this. But that will be after we finish.
I don't think I
Final
roped
Fantasy
you into the
Unlimited.
first one. The second one, I definitely did.
No,
you can finish the outro.
Well, I definitely wanted to watch Unlimited. Unlimited was great. Spirits Within. Spirits Within was great.
Spirits Within was only took an afternoon. This is a journey we're going on now, but yeah, Code Lyoko. I will suffer through it, but maybe my mind will change, giving it a second chance. But I doubt it.
I'm curious because I think it's refreshing to go back and, like I said, these things are like Unlimited is 20 years old, so
it's
just have
crazy.
the foggest like memories. Of
I don't remember
in the back
anything
of my
about
head.
Code Lyoko except I didn't like it. Just didn't like the way it looked.
Yeah.
I don't like French people. I think they made it, so
Yeah. I mean, Code
find out.
Lyoko. Yeah. We'll have to see if any of these animes that we watch on 90s will stand the test of time. Well, I'm Tyler.
This is Evan, and join us next time for the second disc, the next 5 episodes of Final Fantasy Unlimited.
Don't forget to leave a comment. It would do us a huge favor if you leave us a like. And if you like our content, please subscribe. Until next time.
May your enjoyment be unlimited.
All right.